Thanks for joining us. I'm Shanon, he's Mark, and this episode we are talking about another newer movie, and this is a movie that I know, like, last year had a lot of hype, and I also know that this movie that we're talking about is one of those movies that you either seem to love it or you absolutely hate it. There really doesn't seem to be much of a middle ground on this one. I haven't really talked to too many people that were like, it was alright. I mean, either you love it and you get all offended when people are like, oh, that movie's a piece of crap. Or you're like, that movie's a piece of crap. Either way. So we're talking about the 2014 movie, It Follows.
Yes, it certainly did follow. Took a while to follow this one for me, though, because I've been wanting to see this movie on all the little websites I pop up on. As everybody knows, it's one of the themes that we constantly bring up on this show, or people we bring up, is John Carpenter. He's practically part of the show. We should call it the John Carpenter podcast because we talk about him so much. But a lot of people that I like, a lot of things I read online, people are comparing this movie to a John Carpenter film, saying that it's very much it was influenced by him. And so I was like, oh, cool, I want to check it out. And I had some people tell me, like, yeah, you got to see this movie. And I'm always looking for something new that that has a nice, cool retro feel to it. And I will say that, definitely some major John Carpenter influence in this movie. Starting from the very opening scene, I was like, holy crap, it's Haddonfield. It was like it looked like a, what is that screen or that camera that Carpenter always talks about?
The Panavision?
Panavision wide lens or whatever it's called. And like that opening scene of the neighborhood, and it's like where it's like kind of panning across the street and the boulevard and the houses. It was like, oh my gosh, it's the same scene shot that when you first see Haddonfield in Halloween, like when and I was like, it just and the music is very much like it's all synthesizers, and and it just very much had that Carpenter feel throughout.
You had that opening shot in the movie where the girl comes out of the house, runs down the street, and then kind of turns around and goes back to the house. So yeah, which is kind of, like you had said, very Carpenter-esque. And there actually is another scene a little bit later where the kids are all like watching an old movie on TV, which again is another like kind of a Halloween kind of feel to it, if you will. And I don't know
sci-fi movie
if those elements of this movie were supposed to be one of these things like, hey, we're going to pay tribute to John Carpenter by ripping off his camera angles and stealing some of his plot points. Or not plot points, but because that's all I was thinking the first time I watched this movie, and the most recent time I watched this movie was like, oh, so if you like this movie, you're like, oh, this has a very Carpenter kind of feel to it. And whereas I don't like this movie, and I'm like, this is a John Carpenter ripoff, if anything. I mean, that's the feel I got from it. I just...
Yeah, well, like going now. I thought that the retro feel of the film and the Carpenter like angles and all that, and the filming, I enjoyed that part of it. I did not enjoy the story though. So I guess we can go and kind of talk about what the story is about. And basically, it's a group of teenagers, and one of them goes out on a date. She meets this guy, and they go to the movies, and he's kind of acting strange at the theater, like somebody's behind them. And so they leave the theater, and he's like, come on, we got to get out of here. And so they go, and they end up parking somewhere, lover's lane or some desolate area in his car, and they do it, and then they're kind of talking for a little bit afterwards, and then he kind of sneaks up behind her, and what's the name of that chemical that you put on a napkin and kind of put over somebody's nose and mouth?
Chloroform.
Chloroform. So he does that to her, and she passes out. Then he drives her back home and kind of drops her off at her house, like on the road. And she
wait, you missed a big chunk there.
Oh, what'd I miss?
So after he chloroforms her, he takes her to the like parking structure or whatever and ties her to the chair so she can see that it follows. And then he kind of explains this whole weird, stupid concept of something is following you, and in order to get rid of it, you have to have sex with somebody, and then instead of following you, it's going to follow them. Unless something happens to them, if they get killed, then it's going to come back to following you. And then he takes her back into the car and then drops her off in front of the house and then takes off. Right then, when it got to that point where it was like, oh, you have to have sex and then you're going to pass this whatever thing is to somebody else, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore unless something happens to them. Right then I was like, and I'm done. This is not going to be good. And it wasn't good at all. It never got good. Even when I went back and watched it I think I watched it like a week ago because we were going to talk about it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to not say I don't like it or I do like it. And then as soon as I got to that point, I was like, nope. This is dumb. This is whatever they're doing. I don't get it. I don't know why this is a movie. I don't know why people like this. This is dumb. And maybe that's a grumpy old man coming out in me. I don't know, but it just...
That could be.
It could be. Yeah, I just hit a milestone a couple of weeks ago, so I just hit the big 4-0.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Me and Carpenter are just sitting over here on my front porch going, get off my damn lawn, you assholes! Just a couple men.
That's what happens. Yeah, so we find out basically that the storyline is when you have sex, it passes on this, I don't know how to explain it, but like basically something that nobody can see but you.
Yeah, if you could figure out how to explain it would maybe help, because that's the thing. I don't... What the hell is... What is going on? Because it wasn't even like the opening scene. It was like this naked girl like coming up, and then she sees like an old lady, and then she sees like some other person, and then there's this tall guy.
So basically the It in It Follows is basically, it's kind of, I guess, like, the reference is sort of like a sexually transmitted disease that sort of comes to kill you, but it like comes in the form of of people that you know or you've seen before, I guess.
So if you were wearing a condom, would it not happen?
That is an interesting question. Who knows?
I don't know.
But so you see, so basically you have to go and have sex with somebody to pass it on, and then so it stops following you and it'll follow this other person, and then that person, I think another rule is if they get killed, then it'll come back and go to get you again.
Yeah.
So they have to pass it on to somebody else. So there's this constant need to pass it on. And then it's so you don't like see anything. You don't like, nobody can see what you're seeing. So like the person who's infected sees like a person coming after them basically. And that person can come in the form of, I guess it's like people that you've seen before. And they kind of look like zombies.
Oh, so like, I just came across this interesting tidbit of information. So this is a quote from the director of the movie.
Oh, okay.
I'm not personally that interested in where it comes from. What the hell, dude? Are you even trying to steal that from Carpenter as well? Like, oh, it's a force of nature. It's the boogeyman. What? No, you can't be like, hey, if you have sex, then something's going to come and get you. What? Oh, it might be somebody that you recognize. It might not be. Just be a complete weirdo, and anytime you see anybody else, just be like, hey, do you see that person over there? Hey, do you see that person over there? Okay, good. Oh, you don't? Oh, shit, let's go. Run. Because it made no sense. And then there was that weird scene on the beach where, this whole thing, they're like, well, it happened more than on the beach. It happened at the beach end of the pool. But they're like, oh, something's happening? Oh, I can't see it, but I can, like, attack it. Like, what? It was just,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, I can just imagine the people that were making this movie were probably sitting around watching frickin' Scream and watching, The Purge, and being like, oh, these are great movies. Oh, let's make a movie about sex and have it be scary. That's awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah, it was. I didn't really care for the story. I think we both agree on that. It did have a cool retro vibe to it, and they even kind of did a whole, like, it was a sort of almost like you didn't know what period of time it was. At least I don't recall them ever referencing like, hey, this is in the 80s or something, or the 90s or whatever. But I did see that. I mean, okay, so all the TVs were your old-fashioned, old classic, big, giant cube TVs, and then all the phones had, were basically landlines with wires, with cords. I assume that they were trying to go with the whole, this is like, this was like an 80s period piece or something, without really saying it. I don't know, kind of reminded me, like, like how we talked about like Stranger Things not too long ago, had that sort of retro vibe. But again, the story didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, it really didn't. I mean, that story just, I was looking over my notes that I had written down, and not to beat a dead horse, but my notes even were, this whole, I have this thing following me, now I have to sleep with you, now it's following you. That is the worst movie plot ever. And I have ever in all capitals and underlined and like 4 exclamation points after it.
Yeah, it's just...
So there was that, and then the other thing that really kind of bugged me about this movie, and normally this doesn't bug me, but I think it was kind of just put in the movie again to kind of be, like you would say, kind of have like a retro feel to the movie, or maybe it was put in the movie just as the kind of, well, let's just put this in the movie and then have like a little bit of an extra shock factor. But that was, like, these sex scenes that are in the movie aren't really gratuitous at all. I mean, they're basically just kind of like people, like, kind of rubbing on each other, and then they're like, oh, now you gotta go away. But then these, like, zombie things that are, like, following people, and everybody wasn't this way, but a couple of them, the women are naked for some reason. And I'm like, why are they naked? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you could throw some clothes on the person and it would have the same effect. It doesn't do anything that they're naked. Unless they, like, got off of a morgue table or something and now coming after them. But, again, you don't know if they're dead or if it's I mean, they're not dead. It's like a hallucination or whatever. I mean, nobody else can see them, so it's not a real thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't quite get that either. I think there's a lot of open-ended questions in this movie. It's really hard to kind of narrow down like what exactly is happening here. You just kind of have to accept it for what it is, and it's an open-ended ending as well. I won't give it away, but I was pretty disappointed. I mean, I guess like I wasn't expecting it to be like another classic or anything, but I guess I was hoping for something a little bit better than this, and thank goodness I didn't buy it, because I almost was going to buy this movie. So
I would have felt bad. I would have had to send you like $10 or something. Like, let me pay for half of it.
Yeah, I would have been really disappointed if this was in my collection. I'm like, oh my goodness.
It was one of those movies to where, and I guess we've probably done this in the past with other movies that we've liked, to where we've just accepted stuff. But,
Yeah.
It starts off and there's this thing. Well, what is it? It's coming after you after I have sex with you. Wait, what? What is coming after me? What are you talking about? And then it goes through the whole movie, and that question is like kind of brought up, like, oh, what is it? Well, it's a girl over there. Oh, it's this real tall guy over here. It's this, it's that. What? They never explained what it was, or, and then like you had said, the movie is kind of left open at the end, but what? I don't know what it is. What is it?
No, we don't know. We simply don't know. And I don't think they want us to know. I don't think they know.
Probably not, because that quote I just read from the director, he has no idea.
Yeah, well then if he doesn't know, then we have no chance.
What's funny is like part 2 will come out sometime, I'm assuming, and then there will be like this explanation, and then we'll be reading some other quote from this director being like, oh, I knew what it was all along. It was always going to be this. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't take place in a hospital and we find out that the It is the sister of the main character. But
that would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, and I hate to have these episodes to where we're bashing on these movies, but I almost feel that it has to be done. I mean, this was a movie, like I was saying before, that was, and still is, gaining some traction, and, it has a lot of chatter going on about it. And
it does.
I mean, for what we do, I mean, this show is essentially, this is me and Mark's version of Siskel and Ebert Go to the Movies.
Pretty much.
I'm not sure. You can be Ebert. I'll be Siskel.
All right. I get to be the guy without a jaw.
Oh, can you do like a robot voice for the rest of the episode?
Oh, I should. Yeah. Yeah, that poor guy, man. Last years of his life were hell.
Oh. What's funny is I used to watch that show when I was like younger, because where we lived at, I mean, and I assume, do you still get, is WGN still like an over-the-air channel?
I don't know. I mean, it was Channel 9.
Yeah, and it used to be, I mean, when we were kids, I mean, I watched Bozo the Clown every morning, and then, I mean, you got to watch, because that was on WGN, and I don't remember when it was on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still on. I assume it is. But I don't watch much TV. I mean, I just watch, like, I'm kind of gone straight to either the only thing like network related I watch really is Svengoolie. Yeah, and even I've been kind of lacking on him lately.
Yeah, I watched him last night, and that was like the first time in a month, and I kind of felt bad, sort of. But yeah, I used to watch WGN all the time when I was a kid, and it was kind of cool because you had all this, it's a Chicago station, and you had all of this stuff that was out of Chicago, and then it turns out, you get to be a little bit older, and you're like, wait, you know who Bozo the Clown is? You know who Siskel? That's a national program? Yeah. No way.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Svengoolie for you. I mean, I didn't really start watching Svengoolie till a few years ago, but, when you come out and you realize that this guy's being watched all over the country. Speaking of that, there is the guy that me and you had talked about. I think we talked about this on the Svengoolie episode, or maybe the Elvira episode. The cemetery guy that's out of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
He is starting tomorrow is going to be broadcasting his Halloween special online. And then
cool.
the way I understood it, if it's a success, then they're going to start doing it more often, which is kind of cool because he's like a local guy, and
Yeah.
I don't get cemetery. I mean, I've seen some clips and stuff online just because of the nature of what we do. It's kind of cool to see some of these horror hosts from around the country and stuff. But I always think of myself now as which is kind of our tagline anymore, but a wannabe movie critic, which is pretty cool. I mean, we watch these horror movies, and even though we haven't had any formal training or anything, I like to think that my opinion matters a little bit.
Of course, we've been doing this since the third grade.
Exactly.
I think we got our experience here.
I have my notebook, and I grab a pen, and I'll sit down and I'll jot a couple of notes down. And sometimes, like when I watch the Crow, which was the last movie we talked about, I got to the end of the movie, I had nothing written down because there's nothing to write down. And then I watch a movie like this, and I have 3 pages of notes just because I start going off on either a rant, or if it's something like, oh, that happened, I got to remember to talk about that, or this happened, or that happened, or...
Cool.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, if you are a fan of It Follows, it didn't resonate with either one of us, and I had a feeling of how you were going to feel about it, but I was kind of also on the fence a little bit with it because I knew that there was that Carpenter aspect out there, and I wasn't 100% sure with how you were going to react to that. Because I know the way that you are, and you are like us, old men, me and John Carpenter, you are very set in your ways, and you are very
much, yeah,
very resiliently opposed to letting certain things go if it's not the way you think it should be.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I wasn't sure if you were going to feel the same exact way as I felt about it, or if you were going to kind of, with that opening shot, and like you had said, it's Haddonfield, and then just be like, oh, this is like a Halloween movie. It's great.
Well, I liked the kind of throwback to Carpenter's filming. I did like that. That's pretty much the only thing I liked about the movie. I enjoyed seeing that. I just did not. I didn't think it was well done. Yeah, that's it. It was like one of the kind of a forgettable. Okay, I saw that and move on. What's next?
Yeah, exactly.
To go ahead and say, It Follows. Sorry, but thumbs down.
It follows right down the toilet.
It does. So we're not going to recommend that one. I guess we'll have to stick with the real John Carpenter movies, not the wannabe versions.
So
the movie off of me.
So, 3 of the John Carpenter movies, or 4, I guess. 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely have to watch Halloween again tonight, probably. I know they're doing the Halloween marathon on AMC right now.
Well, there you go. So, we'll try next time to come back with a movie that we both like.
Yeah.
We haven't figured that out yet, but we will. I have a few ideas, and I'm sure that Mark's got a few ideas as well. So, yeah, I think this will be another short one, guys, but stay away from It Follows if you can.
Don't follow it.